Did you know that emotional maturity can actually add years to your life? Studies show that people who manage their emotions effectively have a 20% lower risk of heart disease and are less likely to experience mental health problems. Yet, only 36% of adults in the US are emotionally mature, according to research by the University of California. This means most people are missing out on one of the biggest keys to a happy, successful life. Emotional maturity isn't something we're born with, it's something we grow into. But how do you know if you're emotionally mature? And why does it matter? In this video, we'll dive into 6 signs of emotional maturity that could completely transform how you handle challenges, relationships, and even your own thoughts. From mastering your emotions to building deeper connections with others, these signs will help you see where you stand and how you can improve. Stick around to find out how mastering these skills can boost your confidence, your health, and your overall happiness. Ready to level up your emotional game? Let's get started. Chapter 1. The calm in the storm. You master emotional reactivity. Emotional maturity isn't about avoiding emotions, it's about knowing how to manage them. One key sign of emotional maturity is mastering your emotional reactivity. Think of it like this: when life throws challenges your way, you don't let emotions run the show. Instead, you respond thoughtfully. Psychologists often talk about the window of tolerance. This window is the emotional range where you can stay calm and logical, even in stressful situations. When you're emotionally mature, you can expand that window, letting you handle pressure without getting overwhelmed. For example, if you're stuck in traffic, an emotionally mature person won't let frustration turn into rage. Instead, they might listen to a podcast or use the time to relax. The next time something annoys you, try taking a deep breath. It's a simple strategy, but it works. A study by the American Psychological Association found that people who practice mindfulness, something central to emotional regulation, experience less stress and perform better in high-pressure situations. Mindfulness is just one tool to help stay calm under pressure. Another is cognitive reframing. This means shifting your mindset when faced with a stressful situation. Instead of thinking, "This is going to ruin my day," try thinking, "This is a challenge, but I can handle it." It's a small change, but it makes a big difference in how you react. Remember, emotional maturity doesn't mean you're never upset. It means you don't let those emotions dictate your actions. By practicing emotional control, you improve your overall mental health. According to a 2020 study by the National Institutes of Health, emotional regulation is linked to better physical health and lower rates of anxiety and depression. When you learn to control how you react, you take back the power. The key takeaway: control your reactions and the rest of your day follows. Chapter 2. Self-Awareness 2.0. You know your triggers. Emotional maturity starts with self-awareness. And it's not just about understanding your feelings in the moment, it's about understanding what causes them. Knowing your emotional triggers helps you stay in control rather than be controlled. Everyone has triggers. Maybe it's a certain phrase someone says, or a situation that reminds you of a past event. When you're emotionally mature, you can spot these triggers early and decide how to handle them. A great strategy is to pause and ask yourself, "Why am I reacting this way?" According to the book Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, self-awareness is one of the 5 key elements of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is linked to better leadership, stronger relationships, and higher well-being. So, the more you know yourself, the better you handle life. A practical way to enhance self-awareness is journaling. It helps you track your emotional responses over time, making it easier to identify patterns. For example, after a stressful day, write down how you felt and why you think it happened. Over time, you'll begin to recognize your emotional triggers. In fact, research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology shows that people who are more self-aware tend to be less anxious and more effective at solving problems. You'll find that once you know what sets you off, it's easier to stay calm and make better decisions. Another strategy is mindfulness meditation. It's not just for relaxation, it's a tool to increase self-awareness. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you can learn to observe your emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. A 2019 study by Harvard Medical School found that mindfulness helps individuals become more aware of their emotional triggers and regulate their reactions effectively. Start small by identifying your emotional patterns and triggers. Ask yourself, when do I feel most upset, and why? Once you're aware of them, you can begin using strategies to avoid or cope with those triggers. The more you understand your own emotions, the more control you'll have over them. Chapter 3. Authenticity over approval. You don't seek validation. An emotionally mature person doesn't need external validation to feel good about themselves. Instead, they find validation within themselves. In a world where social media often measures our worth by likes and comments, emotional maturity requires a shift in mindset. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking approval, especially in a world driven by external validation. But emotionally mature people know that seeking approval from others is like chasing a moving target. No matter how much validation you get, it never feels like enough. Brené Brown, a well-known researcher on vulnerability, writes in her book The Gifts of Imperfection, authenticity is a daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. When you stop seeking validation, you free yourself to live authentically. A simple strategy to stop seeking approval is setting personal goals. Focus on achieving what makes you proud, not what others think is impressive. Set goals that reflect your values and personal growth, not societal standards. This approach builds a deeper sense of fulfillment. Studies show that when we rely on our internal validation, we're better at coping with rejection. According to research by the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology, individuals who develop a strong sense of internal self-worth are less likely to be affected by external rejection. Another powerful tactic is positive self-talk. Replace thoughts like, "I need to prove myself," with, "I am enough as I am." Over time, this builds your internal confidence and reduces the need for external validation. It also strengthens your self-esteem, making you more resilient in the face of criticism. Start by recognizing moments when you seek validation. Do you post something online hoping for likes? Are you constantly checking if others approve of your choices? Once you identify these patterns, practice focusing on your own satisfaction, not others' opinions. Embrace the freedom of being yourself. When you stop worrying about what others think, you open the door to more personal growth and happiness. True emotional maturity comes from being comfortable in your own skin, without needing anyone else's approval to validate your worth. If you're enjoying these strategies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more tips to boost your emotional maturity. Chapter 4. Emotional Agility. Flexibility in feeling. Emotional maturity involves being flexible with your feelings. Instead of holding on to emotions like frustration or anger, emotionally mature people know how to let them go and move forward. This is called emotional agility, and it's a key sign of maturity. Emotional agility isn't about suppressing emotions, but about allowing yourself to feel them and then letting them pass. It's like being in the middle of a storm but knowing that it will soon be over. One strategy for developing emotional agility is to practice self-compassion. When you're upset, instead of beating yourself up, treat yourself with kindness. Recognize that everyone has tough moments. Self-compassion has been shown in studies to lower stress and increase resilience. Psychologist Susan David, in her book Emotional Agility, explains that people with emotional agility can accept, acknowledge, and adjust to their feelings in a way that allows them to thrive. She points out that it's not about avoiding difficult emotions, but moving through them with grace. Another important strategy is cognitive flexibility. This means not locking yourself into one way of thinking when things go wrong. For instance, instead of thinking, "I failed, I'm a failure," try thinking, "I didn't succeed this time, but I can learn from this." Shifting perspectives like this helps you adapt and grow. Research backs this up. A 2014 study by the University of Pennsylvania found that individuals who practiced emotional flexibility were more resilient and had better mental health outcomes. Emotional agility leads to higher levels of life satisfaction and lower levels of anxiety. You can also practice emotional agility by letting go of perfectionism. When you let go of the need to be perfect, you free yourself from constant stress and judgment. Understand that mistakes are part of the process, and they don't define you. Incorporate small changes to increase your emotional agility. When you face a challenge, stop and ask yourself, "How can I see this differently?" This simple shift will help you remain open to solutions, no matter how difficult the situation seems. Chapter 5. Empathy as your superpower. You get people. Empathy is a key trait of emotionally mature people. It's not just about understanding someone's feelings, it's about truly connecting with them on a deeper level. Empathy allows you to form stronger relationships and handle conflicts with more grace. When you develop empathy, you stop seeing people through a lens of judgment or comparison. Instead, you begin to understand their emotions, motives, and struggles. This helps create a space for authentic connection. A great strategy to build empathy is active listening. Instead of thinking about what you're going to say next, focus entirely on what the other person is saying. This makes them feel heard, which is a huge part of emotional maturity. Studies show that active listening can reduce conflict and improve communication in relationships. In The Empathy Effect, Dr. Helen Reese explains that empathy is a learned skill, not just an innate quality. She suggests practicing small acts of empathy, like noticing how people are feeling and responding in a supportive way. These simple actions can strengthen your connections with others. Research from the University of Michigan found that people who practice empathy are more likely to have satisfying, long-lasting relationships. By being empathetic, you're not just strengthening your relationships with others, you're also improving your own emotional well-being. Another helpful strategy is putting yourself in others' shoes. If someone is upset with you, instead of getting defensive, try to understand why they're feeling that way. This creates a space for dialogue instead of conflict. Empathy also involves validating others' emotions. Even if you don't agree with how someone feels, acknowledging their emotions can help resolve tension and build trust. This practice is particularly important in leadership and conflict resolution. Take time each day to practice empathy. It could be something as simple as asking someone how they're feeling and truly listening to their response. As you build this muscle, you'll notice stronger, more connected relationships in your life. Chapter 6. Gratitude in Adversity. Turning obstacles into opportunities. Emotionally mature people understand the importance of gratitude, even in tough times. It's easy to be grateful when things are going well, but true emotional maturity shows itself when you can find reasons to be thankful in the midst of adversity. The key is developing a growth mindset. Instead of viewing obstacles as barriers, emotionally mature individuals see them as opportunities for growth. They understand that every setback is a setup for a comeback. A great strategy to cultivate gratitude in tough times is to keep a gratitude journal. Every day, write down 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe it's a good conversation with a friend or a moment of peace. This simple practice has been shown to improve mental health and increase happiness. Studies show that practicing gratitude can lower stress levels and boost happiness. In fact, a 2003 study by Robert Emmons and Michael McCullough found that people who kept a daily gratitude journal reported higher levels of positive emotions and fewer symptoms of depression. When things go wrong, emotionally mature people ask themselves, "What can I learn from this?" This question shifts the focus from the problem to the solution. By doing this, you become more resilient and better able to navigate life's challenges. Another important strategy is reframing negative situations. Instead of saying, "This is the worst thing that could happen," try saying, "What can I learn from this experience?" It's not about denying the difficulty, but finding the lesson within it. Research by Dr. Martin Seligman, a pioneer of positive psychology, shows that practicing gratitude can boost resilience and overall well-being. Seligman's work suggests that focusing on the positive aspects of life, even during tough times, can help you feel more grounded and less stressed. Finally, remember that gratitude isn't just about being thankful, it's about making the shift from focusing on what you lack to appreciating what you have. Even on challenging days, there's always something to be grateful for. So, when life gets tough, try to focus on the silver linings. By practicing gratitude, you turn obstacles into opportunities for growth, and you build the emotional resilience needed to handle whatever comes your way. If you found these strategies helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more tips on emotional growth. Thanks for watching.